in the space where we didn't see a lot of opportunity for men to have real conversations. Like, we all meet up in locker rooms and we talk about stuff, and we talk at work and stuff, but we're trying to fill the space where we've got online people, and we just need a space to come and talk about real stuff once in a while, about the stuff we struggle with. And oh yes, God believe it, men struggle with stuff we don't let on. We do.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've brought these excellent species of males together to talk tonight. One of the things that comes up this time of year is kind of looking back on your year with some regret or some happiness. Let me ask you folks, how do you feel 2023 has gone for you?
Quick,
Let me pull up Nick. Let me pull up Nick.
quick, super
Yep.
quick. It's actually, it's been a good year. It's been a strong year. Hit a lot of goals that I set, but at the same time, there's a whole lot of swerve balls in there as well that just had to kind of handle also. And but it's what you do next that matters, right? So
Mhm.
we all get thrown these curveballs that just kind of send us into a little bit of a tailspin. And I like what you were just saying there, and kind of guys in like locker room chat, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Good. You good? And that's pretty much it. That's kind of the extent of the conversation. But
Yeah.
good is garbage. Good, like that response is
Yeah.
absolute garbage, because it's just kind of a trigger reaction, just a knee-jerk reaction to, no. And I remember when I was younger, one of my tutors at school had said, no one, don't tell anyone your problems, because 90% aren't bothered and 10% are glad. And that stuck with me for a lot of years. And it's only in the past, I would say, decade, that I've gone, what a load of bullshit. What a load of crap. And it's tough, because like that's kind of how guys feel.
Yeah.
And how we're trained and how we're groomed into, like, just have a word with yourself, shake it off, get on with it. But anyway, yeah, to answer your question, sorry, 2023 has been a strong learning curve. My venture into Trent has just really kind of started earlier this year, but really starting to focus on it now. And but a lot of other great irons and fires, and met some incredible people, you guys included, personally or virtually, and had a lot of opportunity as well. So and going into the new year with even more opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Troy, how would you describe 2023 in fewer words than Nick has used?
Well, I'll say it. I'll echo it as well. I think time speeds up as you get older. So I'll say this last
Yeah.
year seems like it's gone faster than any of the previous 50 of mine. Um, I will say though too, as well, getting a better sense of where I'm at physically and in my health, because after the COVID years of a couple of years there, where everything was kind of up in the air and everyone was hypersensitive about contagions and everything else that was going on. And I was just at that point in time that Candace, my wife, who's, with been Toronto almost 2 years coming up here next February, that we started sort of delving into the products. And it's only been this last year that I'd say I was really kind of fully aware of all the menu options that were available to me, and really kind of fine tuning what it is, like listening to my body and finding out what it is that I really wanted to sort of improve on. And that was the other big thing this year. I think, you have to sort of set, like Nick said, setting goals, and I think, you went through 2-3 years there where things were a little bit, disconnected everywhere, and people's jobs were, interfered with, and everything was up in smoke, and it kind of refocused in 2023, and it was able to sort of hone in a bit more on what it is that, we really want to accomplish this year. My own personal goals for as physical health was a huge thing. So, and just getting on top of it and staying on top of it. That's been the challenge. And as we get into the Christmas holidays here, it's always the most challenging time for that. It feels like you get the pressure of the world's on your shoulders, and there's, business is crazier, the weather's terrible. I have an issue with, sort of seasonal mood disorders. When it gets dark and gloomy, I tend to sort of, spend more time sleeping than I need to. And I've got to try and figure out ways to get out of that funk and get more focused and re-energized. So I've really been a lot more, less relaxed about allowing it all to sort of happen and falling into old habits and letting, things churn themselves. So definitely, I guess it's a few less words than what Nick said and described as 2023, but it feels like I've kind of stopped, focusing on the dates of, this year or that year. It's just more of like, I feel like seasons are speeding up and blending in much quicker than they've ever done. So
yeah, we're moving into, and I don't know, I'm not going to speak how old we all are here, but we're all of a certain age. It's more into a continuum, less month to month. Let's more into a continuum. I like your theme about the refocus. I want to come back to that because I resonate with that. But I want to check with Trent first. Trent, 2023. What are the themes for it?
It's been good, as Nick would say.
Terrible.
Move on.
That's all I got. No,
Good.
2023 has actually
Good,
been
busy.
a super fantastic year. I mean, Benny and I started with the Trent in probably December last year. We started getting going, and my health, I've never felt better aside from when I was like 20, but I've hit so many goals. I've been to conferences. I've met some amazing people, and they're all in this room right now. I've just met Chris recently, so I haven't met you in real time yet, but just amazing. And I really like what Troy said too. Like I suffer with a bit of seasonal disorder as well. Like this time of year, I want to shut down. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. And looking for ways to get yourself focused and energized and wanting to do stuff is a big thing. And I just got off a weekend of some leadership training, and one of the biggest things that they were talking about there was just taking action. So, and just take action. Don't let your thoughts get in, like, obviously you have to think about good actions to take, but we spend so much time just mulling around on what to do that we don't do stuff. So 2023 has been working up to taking more action. 2024 is going to be just action filled. So yeah, it's been good. So I think I got less words than both of you in there. So I'm gonna step back to.
Oh no, because Troy said something to resonate with me. Now I'm going to use all these words, but I want to keep this time reasonable. Troy mentioned like refocus, and for me, if I was to summarize 2023, it was a year of change for me, definitely. I've been in the tech space for almost 25 years, and so in August, I was downsized out of my company. And that's all I knew for a long time. I've been in different growth companies and stuff, but it gave me a bit of time to stop and think. It's like, oh, okay, all right, because my identity was so tied with what I did, as I'm sure we all are. So it gave me some time to sort of sit and think and refocus, as it were, and like, okay, well, what should I do now? And I started a couple of my own businesses, and I fell into Trent as well through my wife, as I think probably a lot of us did here. Because with that refocusing, I had a chance to say, okay, I can finally stop to take a breath. And I took a look at sort of the wear and tear that 25 years of executive leadership had taken on me, and being at a desk and just kind of being crazy all the time. And my mental health had gone down, and my physical health had gone down. It's like, okay, this is probably a sign that I need to change things. And then at the same time, I was trying to figure stuff out and trying to figure how to feel better. Because like I'm not 19 anymore. Like I felt so good when I was 19. But that coincided with my wife pulling me into the Trent circle as well. And I've been in the supplement area for a long time. I used to do like affiliate marketing with like supplements and stuff. But I was amazed with what Trent had, and I'm looking through it and like, holy crap. And then I started taking some of the stuff that because I recognized what all this stuff did from all my work with supplements and stuff. And I'm like, oh, and some of them make me feel so good. And it's like, okay, I've clearly been neglecting things for a long time. A lot of the Trent products are starting to make me feel really, really good. And that's making me really happy as well. And then I met all of you guys, which is great. And we're all in the same mission here, which I think is great, is to, spread the word and bring this great stuff to people and give people a platform to experience, and air their problems and talk with each other. So, anyways, that was my 2023. 2024 is, I'm hoping, a year of explosive growth, actually, with either my businesses, my work with Trent. It's also given something that me and my wife can work together on, Trent, to lives together, talk about the products, deal with customers. It's been a great year of change for me. Unexpected, but it worked out in the end, I think. So, yeah.
I
so
like what you
ahead,
guys are saying about refocus, because there's an old saying where I come from of life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the quicker it goes. And I think we're all kind of in that, like, holy crap, where did this year just go?
Where does
And then when you think back, it's like, where did the previous year go and the year before and all of that? So, when we're coming into this time of year, for me, and it's, I'm in the real estate business, and it's always like, okay, let's set goals for next year and all of that. And I'm like, ugh, this sucks, because it's not really connecting with me. It's not resonating, because it's all about how much money do you want to make, and that just doesn't that doesn't click with me. I'm not driven by money. But I think talking about refocus, now is the time to actually focus on how we actually move into 2024 and the things that we want to do in 2024, but to be able to get excited about it and to be able to kind of dial into the right mindset for creating those plans that you want for 2024.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this time of year. It's like, okay, what's your New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
I hate those things.
Oh yeah. Do you guys, okay, so clearly Nick doesn't think they work. Like Trent, Troy, do you guys think New Year's resolutions work?
I think they can work for about 30 to 40 days and then they fall off. Now, what works is life is changing, just changing your outlook on life, or changing your goals, or setting goals, not because of the new year, just because they need to be set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think New Year's resolutions come about because people are creeping to the end of the year, and they find that they spent the last 4 weeks running from pillar to post, and they're eating terribly, they're drinking too much, and they're tired, and then they realize, oh, I should just change my life all of a sudden. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? Like, it has to be you have to first of all want to do something for yourself first and foremost, right? And I think that's where, like you said, Chris, is that once you start taking these supplements and you start to sort of choose which ones are the most effective, or which ones you think you need the most, it does create a clear path. Like, you're not only you're physically, but you're mentally much more acute and much more prepared for what's next. Like Nick said, anxiety, I suffered from anxiety once in a while. If you lack sleep, I haven't felt this anxiety free in, I can't even remember how long, this last couple of years, right? It's just part of it's the mindset, but also it's being helped and boosted by some of the things that we're able to take, right? It's just having access to that sort of thing. Like you said, our bodies aren't, we don't generate the same amount of output and hormones that we did when we were in our youth. And now it's, to find out and realize, to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I have to accept the reality of this. And that's where this has kind of been leading me along. Obviously, Candace is very strong and involved in the company, and I've been kind of just testing. I'm a little bit of the guinea pig on the side. It's like, how will this affect and how will this work? And I mean, it's just mind blowing. And then on top of that, the company itself is full of fantastic people, amazing leadership, and everything else that goes along with that, right? So it's yeah, I think 2024, like you said, is going to be an amazing year.
Yeah, I want to circle back, Troy. It's interesting how you kind of like joined up the mindset of change and then like our bodies as well. Trent, I think you're absolutely right, because I think everyone hangs on for about 30, 40 days. I think there's an official day when most people have given up on
I
their,
think it's like January 24th. And
yeah.
Fast food like marketing specialists have analyzed this, and and I can't remember the exact date, but it's around about there where the fast food sales actually passes over gym attendance. And it's an actual thing. And I can't remember the name of it. I've been sitting here trying to remember the name of it. But there's a day towards the end of January where people just fall off the wagon.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And like, I think New Year's resolutions are great. I made them for a long time. I failed them for a long time, and it's because both, Troy, your body and your brain, as you mentioned, we survive by avoiding pain, right? Like that's why us dumb men are still here and doing all the stupid things we do. Like we're thinking, oh, that hurts, like I shouldn't do that, or that was dumb, I shouldn't do that, or my boss yelled at me, I shouldn't do that. We seek to avoid pain. We seek to find pleasure. And the problem with a lot of New Year's resolutions, I think, is that we say we want to give up this thing. Let's say we want to give up smoking, we want to give up drinking. We do those things to feel better. Like no one ever says, I want to smoke, so I stink, so I feel crappy. It's because it makes you feel good. We eat because it makes us feel good. We party too much. We drive too fast because it makes us feel good. And I think until we recognize that um, choosing new resolutions that drive us towards pain is not going to work. Until we realize that, I don't think this is really going to affect anything at all. So I think we have to take a different mindset towards how do I change myself for the better in 2024? How do I set myself up for success? And Nick, you're a coach, right? Like you coach rugby, I think.
Yeah.
Like how do you see this on your teams?
How do I what? Sorry.
How do you see like goal setting on your teams? Like like you can't just throw someone into the game and say good luck.
Yeah.
Like how do you
Yeah.
build players up?
Well, that's a great question as well, and I want to kind of explain something that happened last year, last rugby season that really changed everything for me. So I've been involved in the game for 40 years, coached for the past 5, and we were the team that I coached, we were going to the state finals, and I would get incredibly anxious before a game, and it was like a nervous excitement, but also just kind of, what if they don't perform, but what if they do, and all of these things. And then the Thursday before our Saturday game, we got all of our players together, and the old trick of you have an open fire, and everyone wrote down their why, and then spoke it to the team. And we're talking, we've got 2 teams, both of them are in the state finals in different divisions. So you've got about 50 guys that are telling everyone why they're sacrificing their Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, why they're spending time away from their family and friends and loved ones just to play this game that they don't get paid for. And everything changed for me in that moment, because it wasn't about the game, it was about the people. And it was about why this sport, why this game just fulfills such a big part of people's lives, just fills a hole for them. And I when we talk about goal setting, there's the we've talked about the like SMART goals, and the R in SMART stands for reasonable. And I just heard my coach talk about this the other day, and I agree 100%, is the reasonable goals are garbage. They should be unreasonable. They should be absolutely unreasonable. When you think about it, the likes of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Steve Jobs, they had pretty unreasonable goals, and they were pretty unreasonable people, but they had an incredibly clear vision. And their vision was unbreakable. Like whatever the vision that they had, that was what they were going to go for no matter what. And I think that's where so many people fall down with resolutions. For me, I hear a lot of people go, oh, well, come January 1st, then this will happen. Come January 1st, I'm going to do this. And it's almost like they feel like that calendar change, the clock striking midnight and the year clicking over one more, and then everything changes. And it doesn't. Everything stays the same, to be honest with you. And I think that's why so many people fall off their resolutions, is because the expectation is that everything's going to be different next year. Everything's going to be, it's all going to be, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns dancing on the head of a pen and whatnot. And it's just not. And life's challenges still remain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we need to adapt. And otherwise, our goals and our resolutions, do fall apart, because resolution basically means that you're resolute. To be resolute in something is to be unwavering and to stand firm in it. And we don't. It's kind of like as soon as something challenges us, as soon as something that just is a little bit different, we go, oh, well, now my plan's gone. And there's no connection to the why. Because if you have a strong enough why, if your reason is bigger than your excuses, then it doesn't matter about what comes out of left field. It may knock you off course a little bit, but it'll put you back on course. So sorry, I'm using lots of words again, Chris. But
I'm charging him by the sentence, by the
yeah,
way.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well, what you're trying to say is the journey, not the destination, I guess, right? In
Yeah.
a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like you're having
Yeah.
to, as opposed to focusing on the end result of I want to be this, or I want to have that, or I want to lose this. It's the building up to get to those points, right? Like I think anyone like the Jobs of the world and Bezos, I mean, the fear of failure didn't exist in a lot of them, right? Like they welcomed failure
Yeah.
because that's the only way they learned. And I think in any company or any business that you're in, like for example, you know, Nick, if you're going to go out and you thought every time you had a prospect who was wanting to sell their house that you were going to get the listing and you're going to sell it in the first showing. I mean, if that was the ultimate goal, you would quit the business within the first week, right? So I mean, it's the opportunity that's in front of you.
I don't know who you're talking to right now, Troy, because that's exactly what happens.
That's how it happens, right? I've seen it on your website. I get the first listing and I get it sold in 30 seconds, right? But yeah, no, it's being, you know, realistic, but obviously you don't just set, like you said, reasonable goals. I mean, anyone, you know, it's nice to have some minor successes to sort of help fuel you, because you do need to have some of those for sure. But the ultimate, you know, goal at the end of the day, of whatever it is, it's, you know, excellent health and longevity and wealth, and you know, you have to sort of accept the road's, you know, winding path. So
Yeah.
and don't quit. You know,
Yeah.
perseverance.
And Troy, I like what you said about like, you know, you want to work towards longevity, better health, more secure wealth, and things like that. There's an underlying why to that stuff as well. It's like you can have lots of money, and like you can look at Musk, you look at Jobs and Gates as well, and they've got lots of money, but that was never their driving why. Like they had a right reason, like they wanted to change the world. And even people that weren't in it for the money, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, people like that, they wanted to change the world, and they wanted to like help a billion people. Their why was like super strong. And Trent, I want to ask you, like, what are some of the whys that you bring forward? Like, you just went through some leadership training about, you know, bringing your best self. I know we talked about it in the chat there, but how does like setting up your why resonate with you in the scope of that leadership training you just went through?
Well, it sets it up with everything, because like my why at the end of the day is taking care of my family and the people I love and building community. So one thing I learned this weekend, and I love what you said about vision, Nick, because it's really important to have goals. Goals are great, but once you hit that goal, then you have to have a vision that has goals along the way. So the biggest thing I took away from this weekend, well, two things, while it's on my mind, is being unreasonable. So if you've set a goal to make $10,000 a month, the business coach that was in there, he said, okay, double that, and then take that in 3 different streams. And then you'll get your $10,000 a month, because now you're going in all different directions. So being really unreasonable about everything. And then, sorry, I lost my train of thought there now with the, so with the vision. What I learned was that you want to live your life from the possibility of the future. So rather than taking steps to get to somewhere and figuring it out on the way, assume you're already there and almost reverse engineer it, and then figure out the steps you need to get to that spot. And that was my biggest takeaway, that in action this weekend. So I'm looking at the vision of what I want for my future and my family's future and everybody in here. And one thing that I came up with we have passion projects is exactly what we're doing right now. I was super excited about the first call we did together, and I'm so glad that Troy's here with us tonight. And just building this community into something massive is what I see. So that's
Yeah, this is like my family's a big why as well, but I know that if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of my family. Like when I fell off the ladder and broke a rib and then got back up on the ladder and kept putting up the Christmas lights, the stupid shit that you do, you gotta take care of yourself first, take care of your family. Your comment, Trent, about sort of imagining as if you were there right now. I went through my bookshelf. I got so many books. This is a and I don't like the title, but it's really interesting. It's so old. This book,
I've heard that book.
Forever. It's kind of a Bible.
Napoleon
Some of
Hill
it's
is
a
the
little,
coaching god.
yeah, I know. And some of it's a bit woo-woo, but the thing is, a lot of it is about visualization, imagining, and then saying, like affirmations, if you want to call them affirmations, but saying, I can do this, and what is my vision, and be concrete about it, and work towards it. And a lot of people swear by this book. I've read a couple years. Some things resonate, some things don't. But I think that's kind of core to this and most other successful books that I've had on my bookshelf and given to people, is having this core why are you doing it? It's not about the money, it's not about the fame. And having this overarching vision. It doesn't mean that you're going to run out and make $1 million tomorrow, but if that's what you want to make in the future, and you're fixated on it and you focus on it, and you understand that to eat an elephant, you start with one bite, right? You can't do the whole thing at once. Set up small, measurable progress to that big goal. And I like Trent brought that idea about breaking your goals into 3 streams effectively. You're talking like different streams of revenue, right? In terms of
What he was saying is, like, if you want to make, like I said, $10,000 a month, aim to make $10,000, 20,000, double that, and aim to do that in three different streams.
Yeah, and that kind of breaks it down to be more manageable. So like instead of one path to that 20,000, as you say, for the example, it's like, okay, well, maybe 7 here and maybe another 7 here. Yeah, so you can break that down to something smaller, feels less overwhelming, eh?
Absolutely. And I love what you said about I've heard this so many times in the last 6 months, is eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of training through this company in the last year, and I went in expecting I'm going to have these huge breakthroughs, and I'm going to all of a sudden one day wake up and be like, oh, I get it now. But I've had a ton of change this year in my life, but it didn't come all at once. I have to actually think about where I was at this time last year compared to where I am now. And it's been an immense change. And it's hard to notice when it's happening, but it's one bite at a time. And
but that's a great thing, because every day, in my mind, and my belief is that every day we should work to become just a tiny percent better than we were yesterday. So if you're doing that day in, day out on your journey through Toronto, is phenomenal, where you're not like, oh, I've just had a breakthrough, everything is totally changed now. It's just a nice steady growth. So it becomes a growth, not just like okay, the switch is now on, but like, what happens if that switch goes off?
exactly.
You've now learned, you've trained the muscles, you've learned those habits,
I was just going to say, muscle memory is another thing, right?
Yeah.
Like even the little improvements on a daily basis, as we, as talking about, as an older person here, but if for example, like, if as you start to feel more in tune with yourself and your body and your mind, the little things like making the cup of coffee as good as you can possibly make it, right? Just putting enough of that, whatever you want in it, whether it's the Cremo or the Mojo. And then you're just kind of, when I'm making the toast in the morning, I'm making sure I'm getting every edge of that butter, just focusing on small little things. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a focusing and improving everything that you could be doing, whether it's the way you drive, whether it's how you communicate to your spouses or your family, or if it's work related and things like that. Like those just little exercises I've been finding that I would have no thought to think about trying to do on a little bit of a daily basis, trying to just get your muscle memory back, as far as being the best person you can be that day, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, the diligence.
Nick was talking about breakthroughs. You can also have a breakdown just as quickly.
Yeah.
break out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your idea about the butter on the toast, because it doesn't matter if we get the butter perfectly in our toast. No, but yes, because what you're doing is learning how to work in an intentful manner. Like you learn to
Exactly.
work with intent. Like,
With
and if you
intention.
can bring, if you can bring a discipline to your freaking toast in the morning, like you can bring that to
That's what I mean,
everything.
right? It's the little
Yeah.
things, the little things that add up. And over time, it's like, feeling you don't see yourself growing in the mirror, but you're growing, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can obviously make that little
Yeah.
adjustment to your daily routine, right? But
Yeah, of course, like, and when we try to bite off too much, like I said, we try to avoid pain. Our lizard brain wants to avoid pain. And when we try to change too much, our bodies innately say, holy crap, and our brains as well, like, I don't understand this. This seems scary. I don't want to do this. And we slip back to the status quo super, super easily. I know when I first came into Trinont, there's so much going on here. There's groups and there's talks and there's training and there's products and there's product training and there's working on your networks and learning everything. And um, I'd like to try to tackle everything at once, and that doesn't really work. So what I've learned to do is, like, I think Trinon's a good example because there is so much here. Just focus on, what do I want to do this week? Like, am I going to reach out to some more contacts this week? Am I going to create more social media this week? Am I going to do more learning about the product this week? And break it way down. That's kept me sane around here, and you guys have kept me sane as well. But yeah, I find, like, in a new venture like this, there's so much growth and so much going on that kind of, eating the elephant one bite at a time is really helping me stay sane.
But I think, going back to what we were talking about, failed resolutions, that's kind of this, one bite at a time, make gradual improvements every single day. Because, prime example of a resolution is, I'm going to go back to the gym. Person A has not been to the gym in 3 years, been sitting on the couch, eating bonbons, watching Oprah, and then they're like, January 1st, let's go to the gym, and they hit it hard, and their body goes, and it hurts, and it's pain. And as you
Yeah.
say, you want to withdraw from the pain, so then that resolution gets broken. Whereas if you just kind of gradually kind of step into it and just do some light exercise, and then as you start feeling a little better and you start building that muscle memory, do a little bit more and a little bit more. And did you do more today than you did yesterday? But not to actually push yourself to the point of breaking. But I think one thing that I do want to touch on as well is, as we're setting goals for the next year and year after that and all of it, for me, I feel like we also need to be a little bit selfish. And I don't mean across the board. I mean, carve out some time for yourself. For me, I know that if I wake up in the morning and my phone's on, and then I start getting into work, my day has gone and I'm just in a constant spin throughout the entire day. So I have a non-negotiable of every morning. I get up, I take my zest to get me going, and I take some boost to get me going, and I get in the gym. And I've got a gym here in my garage, whatever you call it. I that's one of those words I get stuck with, garage. And I work out for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then after that, it's breakfast, make my mojo and off to work. And it's the routine that I need, that is the foundation for my day. And if I don't do that, it's very hard for me to build on a rocky foundation. So,
Yep.
be a little bit selfish, be a little bit like, no, I can't do that then, because this is what I need to do that morning. And if I don't do that, you've probably heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. If I don't do it, my battery drains. And it's very hard for me to show up as the best person that I can be for friends and family and my son and for Stacy, and I can't show up in the best version of myself if I'm not doing those things on the daily. So just be a bit selfish.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because Nick, what you're talking about comes up against something again in a book, which I can't find. I think my daughter stole it and I can't find it, but I guess it makes a good book if people are stealing it from you. Is
Yeah.
Atomic Habits? Has anyone
Uh-huh.
in this call read
Yes.
that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got some nods
Couple
here.
times.
Yeah, like Nick, a lot of what you're talking about is kind of like habit stacking. It's like, okay, I've got this foundation. If I get
Yeah.
up and I check my phone and I do this and I'm going out and I'm in the car and I got a call going, like your morning's shot. So you've got this excellent foundation that you're building up to say, okay, so this starts my day. So if you wanted to do one more thing, maybe for yourself, maybe for someone else, how easy would it be for you to stack that one extra habit in your morning routine?
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah,
It's
dead easy.
and it becomes that muscle memory that I almost said Candace because the name's up there, but the Troy was saying, the Troy was saying, you it's just a constant learning, a constant evolution. So adding one more little thing that's of a benefit to me or my family or my business or people around me is easy. Even us doing this call, it's outside of a lot of people's comfort zones. It's outside of mine, but if you do, add those things into your day, be uncomfortable, and then it becomes normal.
Yeah.
And it's all
Yep.
practice. It
Yeah.
really, it's all
Yeah.
it's all practice. One thing that I've added into my morning routine, I'm similar to you, Nick. I go to the actual gym because I don't have a gym in my house, and I like Mojo on the way to the gym and then just my water in there. But I've recently gotten like the weekly pill containers. So I put my Boost and my Optimize and my Focus every morning. I take those before I go to the gym. So that's one of the habit stacking that I've done. So it's ready to go. I don't have to go and find this bottle, that bottle, and the other bottle, and figure out which one's which and all that kind of stuff. So
Blister packed. Love it.
yeah. And then once I'm at the gym, just every morning, it's just I have that energy to wake up and I've done my thing for me for the day.
Yeah.
Because I find what happens is if you don't do something for yourself, like Nick says in the morning, the end of the day comes and you come home from work and your family's there and now you want to do something for yourself, but you've got all these other people that want something from you as well. So, and then you maybe you have some resentment or frustration on that. So if you take care of that first, you're golden.
Yep. Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, well, I've got you here. Do any of you ever struggle with taking time for yourself? Because I will tell you, this is many conversations between me and therapists about this, but do you ever struggle with like doing things for yourself? Like you should be doing stuff for your business, should be doing stuff for your family, should be doing stuff for your spouse, your partner. Any struggles here on that? Yeah. I see not.
Yeah.
Used to a lot. It used to be really, really bad for me. Huge guilt if I was doing anything for myself. I've been on a journey with business and life coaches for the past 7 years, I think, and they've really worked to kind of help me through that. But it's not an easy thing. But now I don't feel guilty about doing something for myself. Obviously, it's not like I'm doing all the things for myself and everyone else comes second. But if I'm okay saying no. I wasn't okay with saying no before. If anyone needed something, yep, you got it. Can you do this? Yep, you've got it. Are you available this time? Yep, you got it. And just craziness going on in my head because then I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and I don't know where the time's coming from, and blah blah blah. And actually, I had such a struggle compartmentalizing things. And I must say, like, just doing a total, product drop here, but Mojo has helped me compartmentalize things without any shadow of a doubt. It is literally like someone just goes, click, you're switched on for the day now, go do your thing. And it's just kind of like clarity and a total focus throughout the day. So, but yeah, I used to have a lot of guilt about it, but now not so much. Obviously it has to be within reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think balance is always a challenge for everyone, right? I think we're always trying to first of all get a better definition of our day and what's most important to you. And I think that's you just start from the top, like what's the most important thing in your life, and then work downwards, and then that's how you kind of prioritize. For me, anyways, I golf 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday, so I feel like I get a lot of time on the, with the guys and walking and getting fresh air. And the rest of my week is, designed and focused around the family and, my business. And then, anything else I can fit in between there is gravy. So, but yeah, it's always good to keep yourself, healthy first and foremost, right? Like you have to have that space where you're able to step back and make sure that you're doing things the best way you can, and in the best way that you think you can anyways, right? We all need help in every area, but that's and again, like with focus is another supplement I use quite often. I find that's excellent. Monday to Friday, take 2 in the morning, and my son is actually taking it now before basketball practice or game, and he thinks it's helping him score points. I don't know, maybe it's just the placebo effect, right? But I mean, it's anything we can help give ourselves a little bit more of a hand, because again, we all naturally want to fill all the boxes and have all the time for everyone and everything, but it's not getting too down on yourself. Like you said, you felt guilty, right? Where you can get yourself into a rut, and all of a sudden it's just you're eating away at yourself, essentially, right? And it's like anything, like you said, having a vision. It's if you're constantly feeling, bad about yourself, the vision is essentially going to start to self-fulfill, and there's going to be problems, right? So you have to keep those, keep your moods on an even keel, which obviously the supplements are doing wonders for, everyone.
Yeah, I gotta send a shout out to Focus as well, because
Yeah.
like you guys, I was leading companies, growing companies, and I thought the brain fog was just because there was so too much to do. But now, having kind of exited that space, taken a breath, and work on stuff like Focus, so the Mojo is my morning routine, so that's non-negotiable as far as that goes. But the Focus is just made a world of difference for me, and to get that clear mind, and then to be able to think more clearly about your day, that's had a really great impact on my anxiety, and also like cutting out caffeine. Mojo's my only caffeine right now, and the Focus has just let me. I will not say Focus cures anxiety, because it doesn't. That's a whole beast unto itself. But the fact that I can think better means I can take better actions, which means I feel better about what I do, and the cycle is reinforcing. And it's been really, really wonderful.
Yep. Agreed.
And how do you take your Mojo? Like, or not Mojo, the Focus? Do you take like 2 at a time in the morning, or because I've just started taking it and I'm noticing a difference, and I take like 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. Would you recommend taking 2 at a time or anything like that, or?
It really, because of the way that the Focus works, doesn't super matter, because what you want to do is build up certain levels in your system. I take it breakfast, lunch, dinner, basically, because that's when I remember it. When I'm running around doing stuff, like I got a wood shop out there, and I'm back in here, then I'm out there, then I'm picking up my daughter. That's why I tie mine to meals mostly, except for the bookends at the end of the day. Yeah, but I just take one with every meal, basically. But if it's working for you, do it, because it doesn't matter, because each path is unique and each path is yours. If you find you're taking it and it works, keep doing it, really, because there's no like there's some 2 in the morning pro. Yeah, I mean, there's some things you do with timing with, like the boost, like the NO booster, for instance. You want timing there. Doing transform for sure. You want some timing there. Most of the other stuff, as long as you're regular, that's all that matters. And as long as you're usually regular, that's all that matters with taking this stuff. So yeah, it's the Focus and the Mojo. Like, has anyone else like cut out caffeine out of their life here, or are you all still like coffee hounds? Nick, yeah?
Yeah. I went from 7 cups a day and between 1 and 2 energy drinks to 1 Mojo a day, and that's it. So it was. I talk about anxiety. I mean,
Yeah,
coffee doesn't help.
You're plugged in.
unable to compartmentalize, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
He was taking the cigarette boat to Colombia just to, forget it, right? But
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I was a hot mess. So I used to drink black coffee because I knew like the amount I was drinking that the creamer was going to be a problem for me around the midriff. But yeah, 7 cups a day. Around about 2 o'clock, I'd go get an energy drink, and then if I was heading back out that night to go coach rugby or whatever, or even train, I'd take another one on the way.
Wow.
Since Stacy started giving me Mojo, because I noticed like Stacy's not a morning person, but I noticed that like she was drinking this Mojo. I'm like,
he's like, hey,
what is in that stuff, And then so I was like, can you make me one, please?
this is
And
PG.
then,
Don't use that. Hey.
yeah, and I drank it one morning, and then the following morning I drank it again. I'm like, seriously, what is in that stuff? Because I feel phenomenal, and it's almost like you want to challenge yourself throughout the day. We're talking about improving just a little bit every single day, and I've gone from Chris, as you were saying, that brain fog and just kind of lethargic all the time, and I'm just dragging ass constantly. To you know what? Okay, once I get there, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tackle that, and I'm going to do some of the things that I don't like to do. And I'm gonna enjoy it because I've got clarity. And that's one scoop of Mojo. I put it in my like a short Yeti cup on a morning and froth it up with some oat milk, and I drink it over the next hour or two.
Yeah.
And it's been an absolute life changer for me.
Yeah. I wasn't a non-negotiable for Mojo. I would have it when I go to Benny's house. Maybe I'd steal a couple pouches for the house. And then I started using it a bit more regular. And I'm like, yeah, I need this.
Yeah.
And then I ran out of the coffee and I had the chocolate one, which is good. But I've been drinking more coffee lately because I ran out, and
So I'm back.
I'm feeling as good. I'm feeling more jittery. And it's weird. I've noticed this with coffee. I used to have it, I'd drive home from my parents' house at Christmas time or when I went to visit. It's 2 hours away, and I would have a cup of coffee on the way. Within 15 minutes of me starting drinking the coffee, I actually got more tired. And I don't know how to explain that. The heat from the cup or something like that. But I find now, even if I have 3 cups of coffee in a day, by the 3rd cup, it does nothing. Whereas one Mojo in the morning, it just carries you.
Yeah. Again, you slide back into those old caffeine habits, and this is why we end up taking 7 a day. It didn't work. You slip back, and I drink usually decaf, always decaf now, except I stopped at Tim Hortons once, got a decaf. It wasn't a decaf. In about 15 minutes, I was like, it felt bad, right? And I was like, is this the way I felt for like, how old am I? I'm old, but is this the way I felt for decades? Like, this is how I live my days. And it was just really amazing to feel the difference between like the Mojo and the very, very gentle kind of, focus and thermogenic effect it gives you, and the kick in the balls that real coffee and caffeine was. And like, no wonder I felt like crap for so long. It was a really, really telling experiment. So if you're doing Mojo, try coffee. And it's the difference is amazing. Like it's a dirty kind of high. I'm gonna like tell it that it's like a dirty high. It's terrible.
It's a dirty high, and it's my stomach just does not like the coffee.
Yeah, no, I know. I want to ask you guys quickly. What do you do when you fail? Like let me admit, men fail once in a while. So you've got a goal. Maybe it's a business goal. Maybe it's like your personal health goals. Maybe it's your goals inside Trent here as well. You screw up. Oh shit, like something happened. What do you guys do to get back on track? Like what do you got, like a little mantra? Do you go back to your why? Like what do you do to get back on track with your goals when we inevitably screw up?
What a great question.
That's a good one.
Nick's got it.
I mean, I'll let the guys that make
I'll be
mistakes.
short about this. I never failed. No, just kidding. Um,
I got the three perfect men on the call. How did that happen? The three perfect men in the world.
it's an ongoing challenge, no matter what. I think anytime that you have feelings of self-doubt, or you feel maybe you don't belong, or whatever it might be that creates that anxiety about what is a fail, what is considered a fail, I guess. Recognizing, obviously, with experience, the more you fail, the better you adapt, and you don't let it sort of take you down, right? And that's the biggest thing, right? I think anything like, and Candace is even better at this than I am, right? Like, you can get 100 no's and for every why or yes, right? And it's that thicker skin that you develop over time, and it is also the fact that you are good enough. You can say that to yourself 5 times in the morning as you wake up. I am myself, and I'm good enough. This is good enough. I'm good enough. Whatever it is that, you just need to sort of brush it off. But failing is the biggest, like the fear of failure is what prevents people from doing a lot of things that, will actually lead them to where they want to be. And it's overcoming that fear of failure by actually physically failing, or getting that, that hard feeling of failure that is going to actually, you can't get to the promised land, so to speak, without getting through the valleys. You have to get through the lows of everything that, to get to where you deserve, you feel like you're going to be. So in a long, yeah.
Yeah, Nick, I want to call on you just because I'm sure your teams never lose in rugby, but let's assume they do once in a while. What do you tell the players? Like they've not made it, they've had a defeat. What do you tell them?
Well, that's the rugby locker room is really not the kind of vernacular I want to bring into this call. That's a very different area of coaching. But I think, I have a lot of thoughts about, failure. Because, it's always been one of those things, as Troy was saying, the fear of failure is what holds you back. But anyone that's on this call, or anyone that's listening or on the live or anything like that, if I asked you to give me, 20 times where you've screwed up, or you've failed, or you embarrassed yourself, you'd be like, 20, and give you 20,000. Let me, like, I can write for days about that. But if I ask for like 5 victories, 5 things that you're proud about, 5 things that you would celebrate about yourself, you'd be like, oh, hang on, that's a tough one. And we don't celebrate the small things for ourselves. And we have to look at our small victories and celebrate them for ourselves, because very few other people are going to celebrate them. Congratulations, Chris, you got out of bed this morning, well done. Yeah, you tackled that item on the honeydew list that you've been saying you're going to do for 6 months, good job. But we don't celebrate ourselves enough. And one of the things that I find is a little bit of a secret weapon in tackling failure is a gratitude list. So spending some time each morning or any time during the day and just writing down, a list of things that you're grateful for today. And it could be anything. You could be really struggling and be like, you know what, I'm really pleased that I've got this paperclip. I'm grateful for this paperclip because otherwise all of my notes would be everywhere. Or, grateful for something that your family's done, something a lot bigger, obviously. And some days it comes a lot easier than others, but fear and gratitude can't live in the same space. So if you have that grateful mindset, then failure isn't really something that you are fearful of, or that really is going to change your life. Because and I said I've got a lot of things to say about this, but and I'm sorry, but another one of the mantras that I live by as well is event plus reaction equals outcome. So, and this does translate into the rugby locker room as well. If we lose that game, and you just crumble because we've lost, and you woe is me, and we can't do this, and we're terrible. Then the next game, you know, why even show up for training if we lost that game? Then obviously it's gonna, you know, keep steamrolling, and it's gonna become more losses after more losses, and just keep compounding. Whereas if you go, you know what, we're gonna learn from that, and we're going to actually figure out the areas that we failed, and we're going to train harder in those areas, and we're going to build a more positive mindset around that, so that the next time we go out, that's not what happens. We change that. You know, as I said earlier, it's what you do next that matters. And there are so many things that happen to us in life that come totally, you know, out of the blue, that you just were never expecting at all, that could really, really knock you way off track for a long time. And there was something that happened to me and my family around about this time, about 18 months ago. And it's happened, you know, it's happened a few times, but it hit us around about 18 months ago. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to get angry. I'm choosing not to get angry, because if I get angry, the wrong decisions are made. You know, and this was not something of my doing. This was something that someone else did, and it's impacted me and my family. But if I get angry, things go wrong. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build on this, and I'm going to see what's happened there, and I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And I'm going to put those safety nets in place. So the event, I can't control the event. You know, the reaction I can control. And that's a self-control and a little bit of discipline as well. A lot of discipline actually, but self-control is something that I'm huge on, of being able to control how you respond in a certain situation. So for failure, I don't care. It's what I do next that matters. You know, WD-40, you've heard of WD-40? Chris, you're a handyman, you know WD-40.
I have a workshop full of stuff.
Isn't
Yeah.
that, isn't that glow?
You know why it's called WD-40?
Took them 40 tries to get it right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was a WD-39 and a 37 and a 30 and a 1. You know, so you know everyone fails, but it's how we respond to that matters. It's the reaction.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And I think the mindset too is failure is just failure to produce a result that you were trying to get one time. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you failed. So changing the mindset, because a lot of people will think, oh, I'm a failure because of this. I'm a failure in my marriage, or I'm a failure in this or that. But it's just, failure is just literally, I had a result that I wanted and it didn't happen. That's it.
Mhm. And what am I going to do now?
What am I going to do now?
Yep, absolutely. We're almost at the top of the hour, but I want to put a little plug in. Are you gentlemen aware of the Transform in 30 that's launching in January?
The what?
I've heard it, but I don't know exactly what it is. So.
Oh, yeah, it's so for people watching here, actually, if you guys haven't clued into it yet, there's I don't want to call it a challenge, but it's a group that is being started in January with Trent and Trent customers as well. So our blood sugar product, Transform, with 1 month supply of Transform, you're going to be into this group starting January the 8th. We're going to have a personal trainer in there. We're going to have meal prep in there. We're going to have a mindset coach in there as well. So we're bringing together everybody. Yeah, Transform, the fantastic stuff that helps you control your blood sugar. I've used it. I'm down 15 pounds on it. It's great stuff. But you know, we don't want to focus on just too much on the supplements. We want to focus on the community, because when you are part of a group with the same goals, you will do better. And this is the only price of admission is a month supply of Transform. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to be in there. I'm encouraging all my customers to be in there as well, because it's just phenomenal. I've seen previews of it. And yeah, it's a whole group of people with the transform who are also looking to change their lifestyle, which is what we've been talking about here, and create a better mindset. And it starts January the 8th. So there should be some more noise about it the next few weeks. So there,
Awesome.
that's my plug for
Awesome.
today. Yeah, no, it's
That's great.
I heard this and I'm like, holy shit, this is gold. Like it's amazing. Everyone goes and like gets a gym membership in January. Don't, like, this is gonna get you way more results. I guarantee it. And you're gonna form some friendships as well.
So is
And
it a
that's-
group or what? Like,
Is there an invitation you
It
can
is-
send out to us and we can all like
Facebook
dovetail
group
it
or
out?
what's the?
Yeah, it launches January the 8th. I'm not running it. I'm just aware of it, but
Okay, we can find it then.
there's no, yeah, we will find it. It's it'll be talked about inside groups as well. It's just got announced early last week as well, so they're just figuring out stuff now. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. Should be a lot more details coming out about it in the next few weeks. So Stacey says she has all the details, so you have any questions, go talk to Stacey.
Awesome.
All right, anyways, that's it, my
Well-
plug, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
here
Thanks,
tonight.
guys. Thanks for your time.
I'm looking forward to the next call we do. Different topic every week, so come on back, people. And for sure, if you're watching some replay, let us know. And everyone show up tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
There's
Have a
All
Merry
right,
Christmas.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.